I'd like to tell you guys a story. A story about my friend Howard. I met Howard a couple years ago. He gave me a call and said that he was dealing with some neuropathy. And I didn't know much about neuropathy, so I started to look into it. And I understood that Howard was in a lot of pain, and I wanted to help him. And he reached out to me because he was at the end of his rope. He had tried everything that the doctors gave him. The surgeons wanted to do different things to him that he didn't want. He'd tried CBD, he'd tried medicated creams. And somehow he came along my website and he found my Amanita pine resin salve. This is like a pain relief salve. It's infused with Amanita muscaria, jojoba oil, and has pine resin and pine essential oils and spruce resin and spruce oils. He said, man, this is the only thing that works. I'm really grateful for it. But do you have anything stronger? And I said, well, I have been meaning to make something stronger. So you're kind of giving me a reason to do it. And so then I made the Panther Balm, which is, souped up version of the Amanita pine resin salve. It's really, really powerful, and has a lot more essential oils in it, different ones. And he said, man, this works. Thank you so much. And occasionally he'd call me and place another order. He's an older guy, and he'd say, well, it's working. And I said, how you doing? How's your pain? And he'd say, well, it's, I'm managing it, but, it's definitely still progressing. And, it started with his feet and moved up his legs into his knees. And, it's been a couple of years since I've developed this friendship and relationship with this client. And he said, well, it's in my hips, and it's moving up into my hips now, and it's causing a lot of pain. And, the Panther Balm is the only thing that works. So, and I'm just like, every time I get off the phone with him, I talk to Maria and I'm like, man, I wish I could help this guy more. He's just such a sweetheart. Like, he calls me and, he has this like tingling, numbing pain that's moving up his legs, and it's just progressively getting worse. And he's in his late 80s. It's not looking great for Howard. And he just has such a positive attitude. I mean, he doesn't complain about it. He's just like, well, yep, it hurts and it's getting worse. And the doctors want to amputate my feet or whatever. And I said, you're not amputating anything. And he's such a nice guy. And I would just, I'd talk to Maria about it and I'd say, man, I wish I could just help him more. She would say, you've already helped him more than anyone else can. And that's enough. It's a beautiful thing to have these client bonds where I know people on some level and I can help them. And that really means a lot. It makes the work that I do way more meaningful, to be able to connect with people like that and just hear their story and be a part of their story. I mean, he's probably just, he's retired. This is like his whole life. It's probably consuming him to some degree. And just to know that, like, I'm a positive force in his life where I can help him a little bit more. Just have him have a little bit more comfort and ease. And that just brings me so much joy. Anytime I wake up and I'm having a hard day, or, the man's got me down, the payment processors are down, or, the DEA's ordering shit from my website or whatever, I remember people like Howard. I remember why I do what I do. And that gives me strength. It gives me strength to keep going. It reminds me that I am on the right path. Because whenever you help people that deserve help, that deserve love, you are doing good stuff. You are doing good work. And unfortunately, because of the kind of backwards system we live in, a lot of times when you help people, people get mad about it. They want to stop you, but it's not all doom and gloom. I just, I deal with a high risk item that basically our whole healthcare system and our whole culture of fear of mushrooms and things like that, it just goes against everything that they believe in. And a couple weeks ago, I got a package, and I look at who it's from, and, well, it's from Howard. And I open it up, it's a long box, and I see that it's bubble wrap and some paper, and it's rolled up, and it is this really beautiful painting. It's a print of a painting. It's really beautiful. And I look, and Howard painted this. And, I never knew that he was a painter. He never talked about it. We had shared some personal stuff, but he never talked about him being a painter. And and it's funny because we just recently moved into our house, and we have all this paint artwork and stuff, and we had this spot above our couch, and I just could not see anything that we had going there. I was like looking at everything we had and didn't know what to get for this spot. And then this painting comes in the mail, and I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is what we were waiting for. And I told Howard, and I sent him a thank you letter, and so it's this beautiful landscape painting that he painted, and it's made of this type of painting that's pretty old school, egg tempura or something like that. And I think that's what it's called. Maybe that's an Indian dish. Well, synchronistically, today, the day I'm recording this, I get another package from Howard, and it's all of these beautiful paintings, prints of paintings that he's made over the last couple decades. He's a very humble man, very intelligent, and I really appreciate Howard. Really appreciate people like this. And whenever I have hard days with the business and I'm getting squeezed from every angle, I remember people like this, and I remember why I do what I do, and it gives me hope and strength. So thank you. Thank you, Howard. So it's just beautiful to have this kind of connection with the people that I work with. And you don't really get that a lot whenever you get into large corporate structures. You don't have a lot of that personal relationship. And it's something that, as I've grown and expanded and scaled up, I haven't lost that integrity. Whenever somebody calls me on the phone or sends me an email, I will take my time, as I need to honor my time, but I will give them a good response. I'll give them a thoughtful response. And I think that connection builds trust. It builds authenticity with the clients, and it makes them feel heard. Oftentimes, whenever they haven't been heard by anybody else who, they've sought help from. So, I'm glad to be that person for people when they need it. So thanks for listening, and I hope that this inspires you to bring more presence and authenticity into your relationships.